إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. There is, by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahmatullah ta'ala alayh, in his famous poem, which was a poem authored to deal with the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnati wa Jama'ah. He mentioned a specific portion that comes in the poem where he talks about the evil woman of this dunya. And we know that there are both evil men as well as evil women in the dunya. And the way that he described these evil women in the dunya, I want us to pay attention, bi'ithnillah. This talk, first and foremost, as a disclaimer, is not a woman bashing. This is not to bash women. This is not to belittle the status of women, as we should see from the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how Allah has raised the fadl of women. But this is to call to mind some of the characteristics that both women as well as men should be aware of by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, which trickle down to the effects of the rearing of our children, etc. Type, he starts off by saying, Ya mutliq al-turuf al-mu'addib fil ula juridna an husnin wa an ihsani. He said, O group of tormented ones in this worldly life, deprived of good and excellence. لا تسبينك صورة من تحتها. You should not be deceived by her outer appearance. الداء دافي نتبوئ بالخسران نتبوئ بالخسران. For it is a disease that is written with loss. قبحت خلائقها وقبح الفعلها شيطان في صورة الإنسان. He says, her character and her actions have been ugly. She is a devil in human form. تنقاد للأنذال والأنذال هم أكفاؤها من دون ذي الإحسان. And he says that they make you, meaning her, meaning they make you, these evil women, they make you out to be dishonorable and despicable, and her palm brings no kindness. ما ثم من دين ولا عقل ولا خلق ولا خوف من الرحمن. And then he goes on to say that nor does she brings any good character, nor does she brings anything good from her character, nor bringing any deen, nor intellect, nor anything from her character, nor fear from the most merciful. وجمالها زور ومصنوع فإن تركته لم تطمح لها العينان. And he says, and her beauty is falsehood, manufactured, that which will perish. If neglected, no eyes will glance at her. تبئت على تنك الحفاظ فجمالها بوفاء حق الزوج قد يداني. And then he says, she will eventually forsake maintaining herself, then she will not feel the rights of her husband, meaning she will not fulfill the rights of her husband. إن قصرت ساعي عليها ساعة قالت وهل أوليت من إحساني. And if her courier, meaning her husband, is deficient for 1 hour, then she will say, have you done any good? أو رام تقويما لها استعصت ولم تقبل سوى التعويج والنقصان. And if you have access to her character, her conduct, she will object the fact that she has any deficiency or shortcomings. أكفاؤها في المكر والكيد الذي. Her ideas are cunning and malicious. He says, malicious, he says, قد حار فيه فكرة الإنسان. That will make the man's mind burn. قبح لها, he says فجمالها كشر رقيق تحته ما شئت من عين ومن نقصان من عيب ومن نقصان. And he says for her beauty is a coat, like you wear, like a wear coat, and what is inside is bland. And he says full of defect and damage. نقد رديء فوقه من فضة شيء يظن به من الأثمان. And he says it's like a cheap coin covered in silver, something one would think that it was expensive. فالناكدون يرون ماذا تحته والناس أكثرهم من العميان. He says for the critics they would see for what is worth, and the people, most people are blind concerning it. أما جميلة الوجوه فنا, he says فالخائنات بعولهن وهن للأخدان. He says as for the ones with beautiful faces, they are unfaithful to their families and they also take boyfriends. والحافظات الغيب منهن التي قد أصبحت فردا من النسوان. And he says as for those amongst them who preserve their chastity while it's unseen, in other words, they also preserve their husband's belongings, he says, have become forgotten. This is the end of this line of poetry. We're going to use Sheikh Muhammad Khalil al-Harras, Hafidhullah, min rahmatullah ta'ala alayh. He commented on this section of the poem. We're going to use his explanation, inshallah, for this particular poem, especially this part of the poem, inshallah. Those lines of poetry, that translation is not the most accurate translation, as we should see. However, it still comes close. It's not the most accurate translation. And may Allah Jalla wa Ala reward the people who actually attempt to translate it. However, you're going to see as Sheikh Muhammad Khalil Harras, he explained these, what's the name? He's going to use a different translation from the translation we just read. Tayyib, Ibn Qayyim, he talks about, after mentioning the perfection of the woman of the paradise, then he goes on to mention and warn about being deceived of the evil woman of this worldly life. Those who are deprived of every excellent trait, because they are the opposite of the woman of paradise. All right, so they have neither, where he says they don't have those goodly traits that the woman of paradise are, as Allah Jalla wa Ala described them. They are neither perfect in their physical appearance, nor do they possess good actions. Okay, meaning in their physical form, meaning by them being humans, they are not, in their physical form, they are not perfect, and we all know that, nor do they possess good actions. How can one be deceived by a woman who possesses ugly manners and is untrustworthy? How can one be deceived by a woman who neither fulfills her obligation nor does she possess patience? How can one be deceived by a woman who is neither contented nor is she obedient and humble? Her deeds are ugly. Rather, she is a female shaitan disguised in the image of a human. So she deceives the despicable and depraved people who desire her because they are similar to her and ready to obey her. I want to stop here and comment on this part here. So first and foremost, the women of paradise are different, we know. And the women who are believing women, they have excellent traits. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran about them, he says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. He says, Innal muslimina wal muslimati wal mu'minina wal mu'minati wal qanitina wal qanitati wal sadiqina wal sadiqati wal khashi'in wal khashi'ina wal khashi'ati wal mutasaddiqina wal mutasaddiqat. He says, وَالْقَانِتِينَ وَالْقَانِتَاتِ وَالصَّابِرِينَ وَالصَّابِرَاتِ وَالصَّادِقِينَ وَالصَّادِقَاتِ وَالْخَاشِعِينَ وَالْخَاشِعَاتِ وَالْمُتَصَدِّقِينَ وَالْمُتَصَدِّقِينَ وَالْمُتَصَدِّقَاتِ وَالصَّائِمِينَ وَالصَّائِمَاتِ وَالْحَافِظِينَ فُرُوجَهُمْ وَالْحَافِظِينَ فُرُوجَهُمْ وَالْحَافِظَاتِ وَالذَّاكِرِينَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. Allah described the woman, the believing woman that is. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lists a list of excellent traits that the believing woman possess. He says that number one, she's Muslim. She surrendered to Allah Azza wa Jal. She is also a believer. Allah says mu'minat, that she is a believing woman. Allah Jalla wa Ala describes that. He also described that not only is she a believing woman, she's qanat. Qanat meaning she's someone who's devout and obedient. All right, she's devout and obedient. And devout and obedient meaning that she obey in that which if she have a husband, she obeys her husband in that which is ma'ruf, that which is good and kind, and that which is excellent. She obeys him in that. She also obeys her Lord Azza wa Jal, and she know that her obeying her husband is connected to obeying her Lord. Tayyib, that's clear. Also Allah says not only she called nitat, which is also a sign of her, she is a what? She's not called nitat. He says that she's also sadiqeen. She's truthful. So the believing woman has the quality of being truthful. She's not known to be a liar. As what Ibn Qayyim is describing as far as the evil woman of this world, these are those despicable traits that they have. She's not known to be a liar. And so that you know, for someone say they want to pull out the feminist card, I'm just not mentioning the men in here. This verse is talking about both believing men and women. I'm just only talking about the believing woman. But this verse is talking about both believing men and women. Okay? This ayat is in Surah Ahzab, Surah 33, and I believe it's the 36th ayat. It's Surah Ahzab, Surah 33. I believe it's the 36th ayat. This ayat is not just talking about women, okay? It's talking about men, but let's exclude the men right now. So they have the quality of being truthful, and they also have the quality of being humble and having humility. Allah says, وَخَاشِعَات. They also have that quality. They also have the quality of not only being khashya, and khashya is different from khawf, all right? So khashya, as the ulama explained, that khashya is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a type of fear or reverent to fear that is based upon ilm, meaning that the person has knowledge of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, meaning they understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala via these means, his asma, his beautiful names, his perfect attributes, his af'al, his actions, and that is about his essence or his quality. All right, so they have this understanding about Allah Azza wa Jal. So due to that, they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as he ought to be feared. So they have khashya. All right, this khashya is definitely understandable that we need to pay attention to. They also have the quality. That's about like 6-7 qualities I mentioned. Allah doesn't stop. So they not only have khashya, they also those who fast. And I want you to understand that fast have two meanings, all right? And some people, when they think of fasting, they only think of one, and they exclude the true fast, all right? So you have to be careful. The true fast is the fast you want to do along with the physical fast, all right? So the ulama, they explain from amongst them, Sheikh Salih Fawzan, Hafidhullah, and Majalis Ramadan, he explains, and also in his explanation of Bulugh al-Maram, he explains the two different types of fasting. He mentioned that, first of all, linguistically, the word fast, as-sawm, it means to refrain. Habas enough, it means to refrain. Sort of like patience. It means to refrain either from speech or from anything. Just like a horse, if a horse sawma, a horse fast, the horse is not moving, okay? The horse is not moving. So it means to refrain from something. As we've seen in the ayah, it comes in Surah to Maryam, Surah 19, where Maryam says to Jibril alayhi salam, she says, indeed, I have vowed to take a fast. Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawman falan ukallima al-yawma insaniya or insiya. She says, indeed, I have vowed to take a fast. All right? She wasn't talking about not eating and drinking. All right? She said, indeed, I have vowed to the most merciful to take a fast. Sawman falan ukallima. Then she explained what it means. Falan ukallima al-yawma insiya. That I'm not going to speak to any person. So any person today, I'm fasting by refraining and not speaking. So the linguistic meaning of fasting is to not speak. It's to not talk. All right? Or it's to refrain, basically. But it has another meaning. And that is the shar'a meaning. The shar'a meaning is that you fast from sun up to sundown. That you refrain from major component things as far as eating, drinking, and having relations with your legal spouse. Right? Then it has a spiritual meaning, which they call ma'nawiyan. All right, and this is the gist of fasting. So my point here mentioning this is that Allah says was-sa'imat, that she fasts. So when she fasts in this type of way that she brings her closer to Allah Jalla wa Ala. And when a man fasts, it should be the same thing. Fasting is supposed to improve your character. Fasting is supposed to bring you closer to your Creator. Fasting is supposed to bring humbleness upon you. Fasting is the only thing that Allah Jalla wa Ala will reward. Fasting is something that even myself, as I'm speaking, we need to do more of. Allah described both the believing men and believing women in this verse as people who fast on the regular basis. The Prophet ﷺ will fast multiple times. Actually, Dawood alayhi salam, as the Prophet ﷺ informed us, that he would fast every other day. If we don't have the ability to do that, he would fast Yom al-Khamis, and he would also fast on Yom al-Ithnain, all right, which is known as corresponding with Monday as well as with Thursday. And this is not a talk about fast, but I want you to pay attention how important fasting is. Fasting actually is a form of detox. Sometimes we always, we do intermittent fasting, we do these type of different fastings, but we forget the spiritual fast. There is no building physically and nothing without spiritually building. And I think that's what people miss. This is the reason when he's describing these evil women, they're devoid and deprived of that spirituality that they need that will make them better. They have the qualities that are despicable and lowly because they are not in touch with the spiritual self. You understand? So fasting should supposed to bring about that goodness, that Qayyim that a person can have. So Allah described the believing woman as woman who fasts. Woman who literally fasts. Also, the Prophet ﷺ said about the fasting that it refrains from what? It's a shield from desires. Fasting withhold you from desires. It won't be no zina if the woman don't agree. That's number one. The ulama already mentioned that. It will not be any zina. I want to repeat this again because rape isn't zina. It will not be any zina if the woman don't agree. Do you understand that? If the woman does not concede or give her concession, then it would not be any zina. Do you understand that? That means the woman will have to concede and give her concession in order for zina to take place. Do you understand that? This is important for you to understand. So that let you know that the woman is playing a vital role in terms of society and the destruction of society if she do not guard her chastity. That's why Allah Jalla wa Ala, he mentioned in another verse, which we're going to mention, showing you the qualities of the believing woman and more specifically the believing wife. Do you understand this? This is important because he's describing to us the evil woman. All right, but Allah describes to us the believing woman. And the believing woman, as the ulama have mentioned, they have the potential to be even better and surpass the woman in paradise. All right, sometimes we get that misconstrued. The woman in paradise can be surpassed by the believing woman in this world. Tell you, Allah continues. He says not only if they fasting, he says they are known as to be mutasaddiqat. They give out their charity. They give charity. You understand? And giving charity can be done multiple ways. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in a tremendous hadith that he says that each day your body gives charity. Each day, each joint of your body give charity. Each part of your body give charity. Giving a kind word is giving charity. It's sadaqah. Do you understand? Removing something harmful, helping someone, pitting something, and giving someone aid or assistance is charity. Giving the salams with a smile is considered charity. So she's a woman. And understand what charity does. What sadaqah does, it's a cure for stinginess. And sometimes we don't even realize that. It is a cure for stinginess, miseriness, as well as being selfish. When you become a person who gives charity, you are removing the barrier because Allah describes the soul being more inclined towards stinginess. As Allah Jalla wa Ala, he talks and he describes about those who give the sadaqah despite the fact that their soul want it. They want the greed of it. Do you understand? So despite the fact that they soul want this or is inclined towards it, they still give it. So knowing that your soul actually call you to that. So the believing woman, she is the one who gives sadaqah on the regular. She's mutasaddiqat. She's someone who's give charity. Look at all of these characteristics. Muslim, believer, obedient, devout, fearful of Allah Azza wa Jalla upon knowledge, patient. I forgot to mention wasabirat. She's also patient. And patient is something that we're going to take too much time for this talk. Patient is half of your deen. Patient is part of fiqh of life. If you don't understand patient, you wouldn't know. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned patient over 90 times in the Quran. Patient is something that all of us need, no matter whoever you are, and the woman more so. Because the woman more so, because of the makeup of the woman. It's a makeup of a woman that is more affected by a lot of things. So she in need of patience. Patience, Allah talks about khashya, we mentioned that. He talks about being mutasaddiqeen, someone who gives charity. And then he also goes in and says, وَالْحَافِظِينَ وَالْفُرُوجَهُمْ وَالْحَافِظَاتِ, that she protects and preserves her chastity. Do you understand? Some of us don't even understand the value of that. What is your chastity? Is your chastity just what's between your legs? What is your chastity? Some people don't even understand that. What is a woman that is chaste? Who is a chaste woman? She's not promiscuous. Do you understand? We probably don't understand what that word means. You understand? It's conditions for it. Men want to marry non-believing women from the people of the book. One of the conditions of even marrying a woman that's from the people of the book is that she have to be what? Not promiscuous, meaning she have to be chaste. What is being chaste? What is being chaste? A concept that we do not understand because we are very loose in terms of the way that we interact and behave with the opposite sex. So we don't understand chaste. We don't understand that. That's because the shyness that needs to be there is the shyness that is not with the Creator. Do you understand that? And you're not going to be able to get to that unless you understand the shyness with the Creator. Do you understand? He also goes on and mentioned that they are not only are they chaste, but he says that they dhakirin wa dhakirat. They remember Allah much. Now, for all of those things that we just mentioned, the qualities that the woman have, those qualities are going to be based off that part, that they remember Allah often. All of these qualities that they have is based off the fact of their connection to the Creator. The thing with the woman, the evil woman that Ibn Qayyim is describing, she's devoid of this connection. She don't even think of Allah. She don't think of Allah as a wajah. So since she's cut off from this connection, then her character cannot be of character of rightness. It can't be a character that is good. She's not going to exude good. All right? Not that everyday good because she say hi and because she might give a homeless person a piece of bread or something like that. We're not negating those facts. That might be some qualities that she might possess. But still at the same overall, if she's rotten within herself, meaning her spirituality is rotten, then she's a rotten person. That's why we need to understand what is beauty. Is beauty a physical appearance? Right? That's attraction. But what is really beauty? Beauty in Islam is the iman of a person. It's the khuluq. It's the character of a person. That's beauty. That's husna. Do you understand? Beauty as far as the eye, that's attraction. Do you understand? That's attraction. Yes, there are some beautiful women that are attractive. You'd be very attractive, but that's not beauty. That's why you have to pay attention to what he said. He said, "Oh, tormented ones, you are tormented here. You are allowing yourselves to be tormented because that's the only type of people that's going to seek them," as the Sheikh is going to say here. He says that what type of person can be deceived by a woman who possesses ugly manners? She has repugnant manners, right? Meaning that you know what type of manners it is. She lies, she cheats, she steals, she curses. I mean, she just used profanity out of whack. You can see the way that she behaves and she talks, and we know this, that now it becomes so much. May Allah reward our elder, Dawah Deep, Afidullah, about the role reversal. And the role reversal is true. If you look right now, a lot of the females have taken on manly traits. We use in the book of Ibn Qayyim, there's a poem, it's over 5,000 lines. It's called Al-Kafiya Shafiya, but it's known as Nunya. Let's say Nunya Ibn Qayyim. But anyway, they have taken on manly traits. They have actually become an enemy to their femininity. Their femininity is their greatest weapon, and they don't even understand that. They use their femininity in ways of persuasion, yes, to use it to seduce, but they don't understand that their femininity is one of the things that Allah Azza wa Jalla have given them to have. A woman would take on a manly trait, and they would use excuses, as he's going to say. He says a line of poetry in here that's deep if you think about what he said. I'm going to go back to that line of poetry in a minute. How he mentioned that even if you bring up her mistakes, she don't even see that she have any flaws. You ever went to somebody that really, their character is jacked up, but they will fail to recognize that there's anything wrong with them? We have terms for those type of people, right? What we call them, like narcissists, or we call them manipulators and different things like that, right? But if you look at it, they just fail to recognize the fact that something is wrong, right? And then if you just bring it to the base fact, forget about you, forget about your relationship, forget about where you stand. You just get to the fact Just ask him a literal question. Is Allah pleased with your action or not? Is Allah pleased with the action or not? If Allah isn't pleased with the action, then the action isn't good. That's point blank. That's for male or female. If the action isn't pleased by the Creator, then the action isn't good. And if the action isn't good, then it's not right. You can't come around now and say, well, I'm doing me. This is how I am. Or this is how I've been because I've been in relationships. I want you to understand something. The believers do not do tick for tat. They don't. You can't show me one verse. You can't bring me one hadith that mention tick for tat. The only verse that you can even allude to, and that is dealing with if someone does something to you harmfully, then you return the blow equally too. And the best one is those who pardons, as Allah mentioned in Surah Ashura, right? Surah 42. But think about it. We have a concept. He cheated on me, I'ma cheat on him. He did me dirty, I'ma do him dirty. I've been done dirty by this man and that man, so I'm going to behave and become a savage. I'm a savage, and this is the stuff that we do. Look at the accolades and the titles that we are comfortable enough with to call ourselves. Dog. Just think about it. It's all derogatory, by the way. I just want you to understand that, right? Dog, savage. Just think about it. It all comes in. Like, I'm just this, a female dog. The B word. I'm just this, and that. And this mentality cannot emanate from a woman with iman. It can't. It's contradicting. You understand? The ayats are clear. Allah Azza wa Jalla says about the woman, He says, فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ. Allah says she's salihat. So righteousness is what Allah is pleased with. Those actions which Allah is pleased with, she is salihat. She is righteous. What else is she? She's qanitat. She's devout and obedient to her Lord first, which allow her to be obedient to her husband if she has one, right? Then Allah says she hafidhat lil ghaibi bima hafidhallah. She guards that which her husband has. All right, she guards. The concept of the term that many people use, especially, and this is something that's being afflicted, especially with the women of the West. And even you find women in Eastern, they are being afflicted by this, the concept of goddess or God. We don't use those terms to refer to ourselves. And even though God does not equate to what Allah Jalla wa Ala mean, is not the same. But calling yourself a goddess and denoting any type of divinity to yourself is something that is impermissible. And we should stay away from that. All right? We're not God. You're not gods or goddess. All right? Another thing that you should stay away from, and I know a lot of us don't really care about it, is we should stay away, because this is from what they call tazkiyatun nafs. It's a way of purifying yourself, where you're calling yourself a title that you're not. You're not a king, and you're not a queen. Running around talking about we kings and queens, no, you're not. You're not kings and queens. They're dignitaries. Kings and queens are stations in life, which in society of humans that they have. You have not reached a level of being a king. You're not even in that category, but that don't make you nothing. Actually, Abdullah is higher than all of that. A servant of Allah Jalla wa Ala is higher than all of that. Yet you don't want to just be called Abdullah, Amatullah. You want to be called a king or a queen. Why? Because you want to big yourself up. You're looking for validating yourself. This is a form of tazkiyatun nafs. You purify yourself. You're not a goddess, nor are you a god. All right? Allah Azza wa Jal is your ilah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يُوحَى إِلَيَّ أَنَّمَا إِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. He said, I have been inspired, or has been revealed to me, that your ilah is one ilah. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ. And Allah Jalla wa Ala is the only one who can praise Himself. Do you not understand this verse? وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ. Allah is the only one who can praise Himself. The human being, the believer, doesn't praise himself. Allah praises Himself because He has a right to do that. You understand? We don't have the right to do that. So let's get away from calling ourselves such and such and such and such. Have these beautiful qualities to keep our mentality right. And this all comes from picking up from the kuffar. I just want to mention some more key points that Sheikh Muhammad Kharasi mentioned. Look what he says. Ibn Qayyim said, rather she is a female shaitan disguised in the image of a human. All right? This shows you that, and it comes in the narration where the Prophet ﷺ, he was walking with his companions, and the woman, she was walking on the same side of the men, and he advised her to walk on the other side. Don't walk on the same side of the men, and that they should walk behind. She should not walk on the side. And she was still being arrogant enough to walk. He says, leave her alone, for rarely she's a shaitana. He said, leaves her alone. This comes in the book of Hijab from Sheikh Al-Albani. He brings this narration here. Rahmatullah ta'ala alayhi. So the concept of there being human doubles is true. All right, and the ulama, they mentioned that the human doubles, the doubles from amongst the humans are worse than the doubles amongst the jinns. All right, now human doubles are true, so this concept is not foreign. Here he's saying she's a female double. She embodies that which is all totally immorally wrong. You understand? So she's a double. She's a shaitana. Shaynatun fi surat al-insan. That's what she's a double. Do you understand? He says, so she deceives the despicable and the depraved people who desires her, because they are similar to her and ready to obey her. I want you to pay attention to this point here. The only person that's going to be attracted to something like this is one that's like her. I'm going to repeat that again, all right? And this is advice for myself first and foremost. The only one that's going to be attracted to something like this is someone just like her. And the proof of this is Allah Jalla wa Ala, what did he says in the Quran? Al-khabithina lil-khabithat wal-khabithuna lil-khabithat. Right? What did he say? He says that the despicable one, the one who is khabith, who is filthy, right, is for the one, the male, is for the female who is like that. And the female is for the male like that. Do you see that? That's it. Allah Azza wa Jal says, La yankihuha zani illa zaniyatin al-mushrik. Allah says, no one marry a fornicator or a fornicatress except a fornicator or a polytheist. Do you understand? Allah mentioned at the end of that verse in Surah An-Nur, by the way, both of these ayats come into Surah 24. Allah mentioned at the end of that verse, he says, وَحَرَّمَ وَذَلِكَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَذَلِكَ حَرَّمَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He said, and this is impermissible for the believers, that they cannot marry a fornicator. They cannot marry a fornicatress. They cannot marry a person who's a polytheist, or one who is a female or male polytheist. Do you understand? So by the very definition of righteousness is that you don't want to be coupled or mixed with unrighteousness. Now let's start taking the microscope and put it on ourselves, because this is not a talk bashing at anybody. Let's be honest with ourselves. The people that we have been dealing with and engaging with, are they righteous or unrighteous? Right? I'm going to make it that blanket. Let's make it even more. Do they have characteristics and traits that goes against what's supposed to be right? If that's the case, right, then what is inside us that's making us attracted to them? Because this is what Ibn Qayyim said. He says that a person's not going to be deceived unless he's despicable himself. That's why he's calling him despicable. Only the despicable and depraved individual is going to look at that and say, well, that's something to look at. That's something to have. That's the only one who's going to get involved with her. How can you get involved with someone? Because you have to look at this, and this is how deep it is. Ibn Qayyim, he has another book about the rearing of children, but this is how deep it is. When you look at that woman, right, and when that woman look at that man, look at it on this level. Children. That's what you need to look at. When you look at the man and you look at the woman, right, look at children. What's going to be produced from these two individuals? What is that? Once you start really narrowing that down, it's going to give you some fiqh here. Is this a person that's going to produce a righteous child? And this is a person that's going to produce a corrupt child. You understand? If that's the case, from the haqq of the child is before the child is born. The right of the children is before the children is born. And one of the rights that the child has over the father is that he pick a suitable mate. Do you understand? This is important. So when it comes to us matching up with these type of people, this is the reason why we find ourselves, because we have this inside us ourselves. Her beauty, he goes on, as for the people of goodness and virtue, she neither wants nor desires them, because there are no similarities between her and them. She is deprived of everything that directs her towards good and prevents her from evil. She neither possesses the correct way of life, ordained by Allah, and a sound moral intellect, nor does she possess good manners and fear of Allah. She does not possess natural beauty. Rather, her beauty is a falsified one that emanates from cosmetics. SubhanAllah. That's it. From cosmetics. She had to doll herself up. And then people don't realize that a lot of that stuff with the makeups, what happens is not impermissible. I'm not going into that bab. But what happens is it causes you to age faster than what you age. It causes your skin to wrinkle up. You understand? Instead of you having the makeup of Iman, that radiant light, that beauty of Iman, this there that you worshiping your Lord, you fearing your Lord. That's Sheikh what they mean. He mentioned a beautiful point. He says that when you find a righteous woman that has Iman, he says how strong she. He says a righteous woman, Iman. She says she's the most beautiful person who has Deen. He doesn't care about that. Why? Because it don't matter how she looks. She's beautiful. Why? Because she has Iman. This is a person who can rear and cultivate your children upon that which is right. Bring that alaka to Allah Azza wa Jalla. How you not going to like that? That's because, like he said, you're despicable. You're tormented. You're like that. So she don't want a righteous man. If she do come across a righteous man, right, that's not going to last very long. What's going to happen is she's going to conflict with that righteous person because she's going to bask it all under control. He just want to control me. He just want to do this. He just want to do that. Just because he's calling her nafs to that which she shouldn't be doing, right? So the question is here. You find a lot of females with this wicked concept. I'm not married, so I don't have to wear niqab. That's incorrect. Even if you want to take the different opinions and you don't even understand the different opinions, you heard someone say his opinion of did you have to wear niqab? You don't have to. You don't know all the evidence why they based it. But because I'm not married, I don't have to wear niqab. Another thing is a person would say, okay, I smoke cigarettes. This is a habit that I have. I smoke cigarettes. You should accept it, all right? Or you advise them, oh, we no longer, oh, we're not married, or you're not my husband, or this and that. I can smoke cigarettes. No, you're wrong. Whatever you don't supposed to be doing that the deen already legislate, it holds true whether you marry or not. Do you understand that? Marriage has nothing to do with Allah's commands and prohibitions. I think people get that mixed up. It has nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm married, so now I'm supposed to act right. If I'm not married, then it's an excuse for me not to act right. No, that doesn't mean that. The commands, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much as you're able, meaning in terms of what Allah have instructed you to. The Prophet said, اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَيْثُ مَا كُنْتَ, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wherever you may be. So you don't have an excuse to say whether I'm married or not married. That's going to be the deciding factor whether or not I'm going to practice my deen or not. You don't have no excuse like that. And to have a concept to think just because you have been done dirty in many relationships and the brother wasn't righteous, or the brother was untruthful, or the brother was a deceiver, or the brother ran you to the mug. I'm not saying you're not going to feel no type of way about that. Yes, you should be on guard. You should be on this point. Yes. But do not allow it to make you bad. You understand the difference here? Don't allow it to make you bad. And that's what some sisters do. Most sisters, they do is they become bad in the process of the bad that they receive. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, sister. Sheikh Uthaymeen made it clear if she wants to make sure, because she has been burnt in the past, that she makes the right decision before she marries someone. And even if she don't want to get married again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But if she allow what happens to her at the hands of someone corrupted, and she become corrupted in the process to other men, then that's wrong. All right? And this is a concept some people have. I'm going to be a savage because he was a savage to me. I'm going to behave this way because he behaved this way to me. No, you're wrong. Don't stop your righteousness on the account of someone else's unrighteousness. Allah Jalla wa Ala is not going to look like it. Don't do that. You know what I mean? So he says here, and when she leaves, right? He says, and when she leaves that beautification, the defects on her become apparent and she is deprived of everything that makes a person desires her. So once the makeup is off and you catch her in the morning when she wakes up, she got none of the makeup on, you get to see her right then and there, right? Under the fan, you get to see her, right? You don't even desire her, right? Because that was, do you get what I'm saying? That was glitter, that was pomp. You know what I mean? Attracted to her beauty resembles a fake coin. SubhanAllah, right? He says her beauty resembles a fake coin. Understand? Plated with gold or silver, which one may consider to be a real gold or silver coin, but this counterfeit cannot be circulated amongst the money changers, even though many people are deceived by it. Do you see that? So in other words, she's not what she possessed, what she portrays to be. And this is why it's not just for the men, but the woman. If you find a man like this, you can't go for that. You can't go for that. People are not who they possess to be. The intellect is so deficient nowadays that people are not looking at things the way they're supposed to be. Do you understand? Anyone that's okay with immorality at any level. Now, we all struggle with our fights with immorality, all right? And sometimes when people hear people talk like this, they jump to conclusions and say, okay, no more immorality at all and no more this, that. No. There are stages. You understand? And the Prophet ﷺ had mentioned in the hadith that's authenticated to him that there is not anyone from Bani Adam except that he or she is going to have a sin that they're going to continue to commit until they meet Allah Azza wa Jal. All right? So we're not going to take from this or understand from this that a person cannot, for example, fall short. No, you're going to fall short. Allah Jalla wa Ala does not tell you not to fall short. But don't be deceived, man, by a way a person talk or a way a person looks. Don't be deceived with outer aspects. Look at a person's character. What is this person's character? How can I define? Is he truthful? Is she truthful? Do they lie? Are they people who are swindlers? Do they want to get over on the next person? Okay, how truthful are they when they do business? Can they be trusted? Can they not be trusted? All of these are key indicators that this person is not going to fulfill your rights. Do you understand that? The deficiencies that they have within themselves is only going to indicate to you that your rights would not be fulfilled. And we don't see that. So the women of paradise, they are one way. The believing women are one way. But these despicable women, as Ibn Qayyim has mentioned, they are pretty much nothing. And I just wanted to comment, like I said, on that last part, where he says that when you bring to her conduct, it says when you bring to her conduct, you mention to her that her conduct is this, what she would do is, he says right here, she won't accept it. She objects to find that she has any deficiencies or shortcomings. I wanted to bring this up. And her ideas are cunning and malicious, right? That will make the man's mind burn. You ever seen vultures out there, man? You got some females out there that are vultures. You understand what I'm saying? The way that they think, their thought process, everything is just like, look, we got to get at this dollar. We get it anyway. Let's have it. They're like vultures. You understand? And when you bring up the concept to this woman, like, listen, this is not the behavior that you should have. You should behave this way. You behave that way. The first thing they do is they go on an attack. All right? The attack is they start looking at wherever you fell short at. Right? You ain't doing this. You're not doing this. You aren't this. You're not perfect. And then they look at themselves. That's a deflection. They deflect it, and then they go back and look at themselves, and they say, you know what? By me putting you in the spotlight, I don't have to address what I have. And I'm not so bad like you're trying to make the picture to be out. I'm not despicable. I don't have ill conduct. I'm not this. So they validate themselves and make themselves think that they are not like that. That isn't cool, because the problem will never be addressed. That isn't cool. And also come from this is the statement where Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about وَإِذَا كِيلَ لَهُ تَقِ اللَّهَ. Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah that when it is said to him, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, telling us about the characteristics of the people who are hypocrites, Allah tells us that they what? They puff themselves up with pride. They don't fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. And they don't know the correct response. When someone say to you, ittaqillah, it's supposed to be a correct response, and then there's an incorrect response. If you become angry when someone tell you ittaqillah, I don't care what it's about. If someone say ittaqillah to you, and you become angry at any moment that they told you ittaqillah, that's a key sign that your iman is deficient. Do you understand that? And that's also a key sign of hypocrisy. Whenever you hear the word ittaqillah, you supposed to do something. The believers, as Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتٌ. When our verses are recited unto them, what happens to their hearts is that their hearts begin to tremble. Do you understand this? They feel some type of way. Do you understand this? We are not at that level. When someone come to you and say, "Attaqillah," you're supposed to immediately pump down. No matter whatever the case may be. You stop, and the correct response, I'm going to show you. Sheikh Uthaymeen mentioned the correct response you're supposed to say when someone tell you "Attaqillah." But this woman, as he's saying, she's deprived of this. She's not going to look at you telling her "Attaqillah." A man who have the same similar traits, he's not going to look at you saying "Attaqillah." What he's going to look at is that you're insulting him. He's going to feel like it's an insult, that you insulted him, that you're enraging him because you're telling him "Attaqillah." This is a characteristic of hypocrisy. Please, brothers and sisters, when someone say to you "Attaqillah," I don't care if you was right or wrong. Stop. That's number one. The correct response is Sheikh Uthaymeen rahmatullah ta'ala alayh. He said when someone say "Attaqillah," your response should be "Sami'na wa ata'na." Your response should be what? We hear and we obey. We hear and we obey. Attaqillah. We hear and we obey. You're not obeying the person. You're obeying the fact that the Allah Azza wa Jal and His Messenger. Attaqillah. We hear and we obey. That's the correct response, meaning we surrender. Do you understand? In other words, I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. I say something to you that is disrespectful, and I insult you. "Attaqillah, brother," and I say, okay, I'm talking to you. I should stop. I hear and I obey. Okay, have I offended you? What have I done? You know, because I want to go back. You're bringing the remembrance of Allah back to the situation. By telling the person "Attaqillah," you're bringing that remembrance of Allah back, and you making that person. So sometimes what happens is people don't understand that. You should love that the fact a person is telling you "Attaqillah." That's something that you like. An evil person doesn't like that. So I just wanted to look at those verses, man, where woman, and also he mentioned one other point that I didn't mention. He mentioned a point that was alluding to a hadith where he says that she'll say to you, "Have you done any good?" Females, really be afraid of this, because if you look around right now, and I think you women sometimes need to be afraid. The first fitna that ever took place for the Bani Israel was who? It was with the woman. Allah Azza wa Jalla began, as Ibn Qurtubi says in the verse. I want you to pay attention. In the verse, "Zuyina lin-nasi hubbu shahawati min an-nisa." Allah mentioned that the woman is at the top of that shahawat. The most things that men covet. That the top of this fitna is nisa. So if you are a woman, really, you need to pay attention. The Prophet ﷺ said, "I was shown the hellfire, and I saw that majority of its occupants are women." You can't overlook this. A believing woman, just like the believing woman in this narration, they're intelligent. They asked the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, would it be because we have disbelieved? He says, la, not kufr, but the fact that she has, what she done is that she will have one of them, that her husband have done his best that he can do in his capability for her. And because of her desires, and because she's become dissatisfied, or she didn't get pleased with what she wants, she said, "You've never done any good." She negates, and this is unfair and this is oppressive, she negates the efforts that her husband had put forth, like he did nothing for her, because she cannot obtain or achieve what she wants. This is the very cause, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in this narration, that she would be from the denizens of the hellfire. Do you not understand it? If I was a woman, I would be afraid. A believing woman should be submissive. And when I mean submissive, don't mean she can't have an opinion. Who told you that the wives of the Prophet ﷺ didn't have an opinion? Who told you the Prophet ﷺ didn't allow them, he didn't consult with them? That's wrong. When I mean submissive, don't mean that she's supposed to be walked all over like she's a doormat. That's not what I mean by submissive. She's submissive to Allah Azza wa Jal. She make her husband feel like a king because Allah Jalla wa Ala have placed that servant over top of her. She knows that in reality, he is subservient to her more than she is subservient to him. And a lot of females know this, but they use it in an evil manner. She knows that if she is subservient to her husband and turns her husband's heart is enslaved towards her, she's going to get her way regardless, because she knows that.
But she's not going to use it in an evil manner. She's going to use it in the correct manner. She's going to wake that husband up and sprinkle water on him if it comes for the prayer. She's going to remind him to give them their haqq. As they said that they used to come in what? When they the women of the Salaf, they used to say to their men, beware of earning that which is haram, because we do not want to put the fire in the bellies of your families. You understand? This is the type of woman that you want. Not a woman to say, yeah, go get that pack. Let's go get those subs. Let's bust down these subs. Open it up. Yeah, let's get this money. You know what I'm saying? Come on, we're going to get this money anyway. No, not a woman like that. I'm savage, you savage. Not a woman like that. That's not a woman. No. That's not the one. That's the woman that Ibn Qayyim was talking about. That's the woman that Ibn Qayyim here is describing as an evil woman. The righteous woman is going to tell you, get that which Allah Jalla wa Ala want. That's the righteous woman. We need to understand this, man. The woman, you need to be afraid of that, man. Allah Azza wa Jal and the Prophet ﷺ had made it clear that majority of the woman is going to be in the hellfire, man. That's serious. You know what I mean? You cannot go off your emotions. And last but not least, this is another golden advice to the woman, is that I don't care what you go through in any relationship that you're in. I sincerely mean this. Don't let anyone come in between your deen with your Lord. Has been many women in the past that have been dealing in relationships that weren't good, and what happened is that they have left the deen. They have left different things, and leaving the deen sometimes don't mean you leave it all in totality that I don't believe in the law. It's not going to come sometimes clear cut like that. Leaving the deen is leaving off key points and components sometimes. Becoming lackadaisical in this area. Doing that. That stuff is signs of leaving it. I no longer, feel energetic because you had a bad relationship with someone who had ill manners or ill conduct, who was deficiency and had nifaq with them. Then you allow that to bother you, and then you're no longer. I met a sister a long time ago, and she said I was Muslim for 10 years. This was her statement. She said I was married for 10 years, and the marriage was not good. And as we talking, and by the way, as we talking, we was at a halfway house, so I'm not talking to the woman on the street. She was actually the staff member that was in the halfway house. But as we talking, she was saying she didn't have no garbs on, no nothing. So I'm saying, oh, why are you not practicing now? Yeah, I'm 10 years marriage, this and that. And she really connected the bad marriage to her connection to her creator. So my advice is don't do that. There should be no man on the face of the earth that would turn you away from Allah. If you really believe that Allah is Allah and Allah is your Lord, how does a bad relationship come in between that? That don't come in between that. What did Pharaoh was the most wickedest man that you can think of. Come on. He was contending with Allah Azza wa Jalla Rububiyyah. What did Asiya do? She didn't become kafir because her iman in Allah Azza wa Jalla didn't dry down because she had the most wicked husband. No, you don't do that. You don't allow yourselves to say, okay, I have a bad relationship. This is too much for me. Now I just want to come out. I want to be free. I want to be this and that. No, you're tripping. And when you have those thoughts, stay away from there, from shaitan. And they're from your nafs. This is why the Prophet ﷺ warned the woman when they come to. That's why it's a position. They don't come to the funerals, man. Tripping off your hair. When you see women cutting their hair and doing different stuff, trust me, it's some emotions connected to that stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Stay away from this stuff. None of that stuff should affect you with your Lord. Allah Azza wa Jalla is Allah. That man isn't Allah. That man doesn't sanction to you what's the deen or what's not. That man has reared off as that noble Sahabiya. If you read in the story, when they went to Abyssinia, her husband, he had apostated from the deen of Islam. He had become a drunkard. He was drinking khamr. He had left her with their children that they had. And look what Allah Azza wa Jal done. She didn't regress. She didn't give up her deen. What did she do? She remained patient, and Allah gave her the Prophet ﷺ as a husband. She got married to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ married her, hearing her case. He proposed to her and married her. She had got something better than what she had. Her husband left the deen of Islam. She had children with this man. What we do is, we leave our deen. Come on, man. We got to stay away from that. That's what I wanted to bring today, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah Jalla wa ala allow us to really become righteousness. And why would I mean become righteousness in steps? The first step of becoming righteousness is having sincere intentions. Having a sincere intentions. Being sincere in our actions. Being sincere in getting closer to Allah. I ask Allah Jalla wa ala to allow us to become righteous by being sincere. The second step of becoming righteous is by making sure that when it comes to act of worship, that we have Quran and Sunnah, that we do not act, that we do not behave, that we not say when it deals with Allah's deen, when it deals with worship, unless we have proof or text, because the deen is tawqifiyah. This is righteousness. Righteousness is becoming a servant. All right, sincerity and conformity to the Sunnah. That's righteousness. As Sheikh Muhsin al-Abad, he said, La ilaha illallah comprise both of these things. Sincerity and conformity to the Sunnah. That when you say La ilaha illallah, you're saying La ilaha, that there is no ilah deserving of worship. Basically, that's sincerity. You are sincere that the fact that only deity that you need to worship, who has the right to worship, who have exclusive, and this legislate and so forth, is Allah alone. That's ikhlas. And when you say Anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, then that is conformity to the Sunnah. And the action cannot be accepted unless it has sincerity to Allah and it has conformity to the Sunnah. So righteousness is breed from these two things. If you want to be righteous, all you have to do is be sincere and conformity to the Sunnah. Do you understand? That's righteousness. Any act you do after that, that's consistent, whether it's big or it's small. You want to keep it up. Sincerity and conformity to the Sunnah, that is your righteousness. You don't have to worry about what you look like to the outside world. And another key component that you want to make sure when you're righteousness is that you don't see yourself righteousness, as it comes in the athar of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. She said, when do I know, when the man said to her, when would I know that I'm pious? When would I know that I'm pious? What are you talking about? When the fact that she explained to him the fact that you don't see yourself pious, that you're a sinner. You don't see yourself pious. You don't look at yourself and seeing that you have achieved some state. No, you realize that you are impoverished and that you're in need of Allah Jalla wa ala, and that you fret over your deeds. That, oh, was this deed accepted? How many of us do that? How many of us ever done that in our life? Be honest. How many of us take our worship that we did, that we prayed 5 times a day, if we did, and we really think about it? Was the door accepted? Do you ever sit back and just think, like, was the door accepted? What about also, was that accepted? When I gave that charity, was that accepted? If you really fret over that and you really think about it, you'll come back to the conclusion that you don't even have no knowledge that it was accepted, right? So then you will continue to do that which is right. May Allah Jalla wa ala make us better. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Have a beautiful Jumu'ah. It's raining today. Don't forget to make dua. Also, one of the signs of rain that many people don't know, that the Prophet ﷺ used to be afraid when it used to rain. He did not used to always be happy when he see rain, because you know that some people in the past, some nations in the past, they was destroyed when rain would come. Specifically talking about Ad and Thamud. So that's some of the concepts we should also be. Make dua to Allah Jalla wa ala. Never stop making dua. I don't care if nothing happened. Some of the Salaf of the past, they said that if you make dua and Allah doesn't answer you not once, still make dua, because it's a beauty connection of longing to your Lord Azza wa Jal. Make dua, man. Stop crying to the world. Stop crying to Facebook. Stop crying to this person. Make dua. If you want to complain to someone, complain to Allah. Grow a relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. Make dua. Okay? That's the only thing that can change the qadr. If it was anything that can change the qadr, it will be dua. So make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallah khairan. May Allah reward you.